A couple million feet, all cash, baby. I eat a little cheese and a rash, baby. I eat a little cheese like snack, baby. Let's go.
What's going on, YouTube? Back with another video. Today we will be talking about my transfer year. At the end of my freshman year in 2016, the coaches there got fired. So then a new coaching staff came in, maybe like 2 months later. When new coaches come in, they're not really allowed to just kick you off the team. I've heard it happen a few times where they take away scholarships, but it's pretty rare. So what they usually do is they treat you differently. It's clear that they'll treat you differently, so you willingly leave, so you willingly want to transfer. When new coaches come in, they have a new philosophy, they have a new style of play. They do things differently, and sometimes they may think that you're not a fit for them. My sophomore year was one of the worst years of my life, yet it was the best. You know, at the time I considered it to be the worst, but now it's been 3 years and a half now, and I've had time to process and really think about what happened that year and what went down, and it turned out that it was one of the best years of my life. I'm not gonna get into the specifics of what exactly happened. I'm just gonna give an overview of how I was treated as a person and as a player and what I learned through that experience. I had a pretty good freshman year. I started as a freshman point guard. I played 20 to 25 minutes a game. My first game, I had 22 points, and then for the next 4 games, I had like 15, 12, 11. I was a top freshman in assists in that conference. I expected my sophomore year to be amazing. I expected a breakout season. And my breakout season did not happen. Played 10 minutes a game if I was lucky. Had zeros all across the board, 0 points a game, 0 assists a game, 0 rebounds a game. I shot a total of, I want to say like 15, 16 shots the whole season. I wasn't allowed to shoot. I wasn't allowed to do a layup because apparently I was too short. I was really just in the game to pass and play defense, honestly. As soon as I made one mistake or did something that was wrong, I was taken out right away. You know, I couldn't shoot. I couldn't go one-on-one. I couldn't go for layups. So it's like, so what am I doing? All I can do is pass, but what if nobody is open? What else am I supposed to do type thing? So it was just very frustrating, and day in and day out, I was trying to figure it out because all my strengths were taken away from me. I couldn't shoot. Couldn't push the ball. I couldn't use my speed. I felt like a robot. I'm not that type of player. I'm the type of player to play off instincts. I'm fast, and I know that. I know it's hard for people to guard me because I have a quick first step. I love pick and roll action. I love pushing the ball in transition. I love to go. But in that system, I had to stop. So when I noticed that I was struggling, I was like, okay, this is not working out. I really wanted to learn. Not a lot of people know this, but I've started to learn the tactical side of basketball when I transferred to App State my junior year. Before that, nobody actually sat me down and talked to me one-on-one with game film and broke everything down. And it was like, look, as a point guard, this is what you need to be looking for. As a point guard, you should have done this at this play. You need to focus on that. Nobody did that for me. I was pretty much self-taught or played, street ball kind of thing. I'm a visual learner, so I need to see myself play, and I need to see myself making mistakes while someone is there teaching me, like, look, you should have done that. I'm not dumb. Like, you don't have to hold my hand and tell me what to do every second of the day, but everybody learns differently. The way I like to be taught is I like for people to break things down so I really fully understand what's going on. Everything that I've learned my last 3 years of college, now it makes sense. Like, it's starting to click, and I see it now, like I said, at the pro level, and it comes naturally. It's like an instinct at this point. So anyway, back to my sophomore year. I wanted to learn. Like, I was dedicated to learn. And not once did I complain about playing time. So I would ask questions. I would ask for feedback. I love feedback. I gave my all in practice. I was in the gym all the time asking for extra workouts. I wanted to watch film right after we played. I asked the coaches if I could scout with them and make the scouting report with them so I can see what they're looking at, what they're talking about. Like I wanted to be a coach so I could understand the game better. But there was no patience. I feel like winning was more important and they didn't have time to teach someone. It was more so like, you don't get it, okay, we'll try and make you leave so we can get someone else to come in who will get it because we don't have time to teach you and break things down. That's also the same time that I went viral and my life completely changed. I met some incredible people all over the world. So I was given a platform to inspire thousands and thousands of people. So that's when I started doing, motivational videos and basketball videos. I wasn't even allowed to do that. I wanted to network and train with a bunch of trainers and create videos. I wasn't allowed to train. I wasn't allowed to travel. So all the things that I enjoyed doing off the court, I wasn't able to do that. So I was put in a box on the court and off the court. Everything I did was watched so closely. I felt like I was doing something wrong all the time. Like I was literally questioning myself all the time. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Because I can't seem to get it right. As a person, I was not taken seriously at all. Like I was the joke, and I couldn't be myself. So honestly, I didn't talk much. I kept my mouth shut, put my head down, and just took care of my business. A lot of people ask me why I transferred so late. I transferred at the end of June. So that's summer 2. And by that time, most teams are getting ready for the upcoming season. Long story short, the way things were handled, it was just not cool. The whole thing, it definitely could have been handled differently. I was emailing schools every day, each coach from the coaching staff. I had a whole Word document set up of all the emails I sent. I actually still have it because sometimes I look at that and I use that as motivation because I emailed at least 50 schools, each coach from the coaching staff. So we're talking about 200 emails in a span of a month maybe. On top of that, since I wasn't on scholarship anymore, I was kicked out of the dorms beginning of August when summer 2 session ended. So I had to put all my stuff in the living room and couch hop for 2 weeks. I thank God every day, every single day, for the friends that I made off the court at that school because they took me in with no hesitation. They gave me food, they gave me a bed, they gave me a roof over my head. They gave me love and support. I had Caleb, and he was living with his family at the time, so his whole family took me in. And then we have Virgil, he was living with his girlfriend at the time, so he pulled up a whole mattress for me in the living room. And then we had DJ, we cooked a few days, we bought hella food and just cooked together. And he was the one that actually made some of my tattoos, so he got me tatted up while I was there. All the schools that I emailed barely responded because, like I said, it was so late in the transferring process. So most teams didn't have any scholarships left or just didn't need a point guard. So now we're down to 2 schools. We got App State and the other school. Initially, I actually told Coach P, that's who reached out to me, that I wasn't interested. So I declined the offer. So I went to visit the other school and I told them to give me a week for me to think about it. But it's like, what is there to think about if that's the only option, But something inside me was hesitating. I don't know why. Check this out. 5 days later, so 2 days before I was gonna call and commit, maybe, I don't know. They said, we're not interested. It was so quick. They were just like, hey, we're not interested. Sorry, bye. No reason. I call my mom and I tell her what happened. And I told her, I'm like, I'm probably going to be coming home because I have no other schools to go to. And I'm kind of homeless. I don't even have a place to stay. I'm couch hopping right now. So I think I'm just going to go home. And in college basketball, when you say no to a coach, you don't go back and say, oh, never mind, I want to come. It doesn't work like that. But at that point, I had nothing to lose. So I called Coach P back and I was honest with him. I told him that they dropped me. I have nowhere to go. I don't even have a place to live. So because I I don't know where to go. I'm probably gonna go home. And, I was honest. He said, well, now you know how the business works. It sucks, but we're still interested in you. So come down for a visit. So I was like, okay. A day later, I hop on a plane, I go to North Carolina, I visit App State, and I'm like, I really like this school. I had a really good vibe. I met the coach, and I don't know. I had a good feeling. I really liked my teammates too. So I'm back at the airport. I call my mom, and she was like, so? And I was like, I like it. I'm going to take 2 or 3 days to think about it. She was like, think about what? Just say yes. Where else are you going to go? So then I'm like, okay, yeah, you got a point. You're right. So I called Coach P and I said, I'm committing. My stepdad came to Florida. We put all my stuff in a car. We rented a car. We put all my stuff in the car. We drove from Orlando, Florida to Boone, North Carolina. When I got there, school was about to start. Maybe like 3 or 4 days later after that. It's unheard of for a player to sign last minute like that. God was looking out for me because I was gonna go home. I don't even know how I would have felt. I probably would have been depressed for sure. I don't even know. Just thinking about it literally scares me because my dream was to play Division I basketball. I made it, and now I'm back home. I didn't even finish it. App State took a chance on me, and I enjoyed my last 3 years so much. If anything, it was probably the best 3 years of my life. So remember at the beginning of the video when I said, initially it felt like it was the worst year of my life, but then after processing everything and really thinking things through, it turned out that it was one of the best years of my life. So when you transfer, you can't play for a year. You can practice, you can go to school, you can be on the bench during home games, but you can't play and you can't travel with the team. So that year especially, I had a lot of time on my hands because like I said, I couldn't travel. So I really took that time to think because everything happened so fast. Next thing you know, I'm in North Carolina, and I never really just sat down and took a deep breath and thought, And I realized that as a player, I didn't learn much. But as a person, I learned tremendously. And because of that, I feel like that helped me become even more successful. What was supposed to bring me down actually brought me higher. The number one thing that I learned was how to stand up for myself. I used to be very shy and kind of allowed people to say whatever they wanted to say because it was just uncomfortable for me to be like, hey, I don't like that. I kind of just let it slide or laughed it off, even though it really hurt my feelings. And I feel like people can sense that, and they kind of took advantage of that because they knew that I wasn't going to say anything back. But now I do not tolerate disrespect anymore. If you do something that I don't like, respectfully, of course, I will say, hey, I don't like that. Second thing I learned was I knew how it felt to be, misunderstood. I knew what it felt to feel alone. I knew what it felt like to be treated like you don't belong. So now when I come across someone who feels that way, I understand what they're going through. So now it allows me to help them and be there for them. It opened my eyes when it came to how to treat people. I don't want someone to go through what I went through emotionally or mentally. So now, I always want to make sure that I'm being kind, caring, lovable, supportive in everything I do and say as a teammate and as a person. I wasn't a mean person before, but now it's more like I'm just more aware that words and actions can have an effect on people. And the third thing is that it brought me to App State. I was very to myself when I got there. Naturally though, that's how I am. I'm pretty private and I like to be by myself and just do my own thing. But after going through what I went through, I was even more private. I kept my head down, kept my mouth shut, and just took care of my business because that's what I was used to. One day my head coach was like, why don't you just come in and say hi? I was like, players come into their coach's office and just talk about life? I wasn't used to that, so it was kind of uncomfortable for me at the beginning. Next thing you know, I started to open up more because I felt accepted. I felt loved. I didn't feel stupid. They liked me for me. I was laughing again. I was smiling. On the court, I started to get my confidence back and play like I used to play. And then off the court, I was able to do the things that I loved. I started to travel the country. I started to network again. I started my own clothing line. I started writing a book. I started to make motivational videos and basketball videos. Most of my coaches and teammates even bought gear from my clothing line. And they were so happy when I gave it to them. Like, I don't know if they know, but that moment right there when everybody in the locker room was like, hey, let's go, and then put on their Snapchat and everything, I was like, I just sat there and I was like, wow. There was just so much love. So if you feel like you can't be yourself off and on the court, transferring is probably the best option for you. I mean, it was scary for me because I thought transferring was bad. I thought it meant that you're a quitter and that you're not good enough. But now I don't see it that way at all. You have to go somewhere where you're loved, where you're cared for, and where you're appreciated as a person and as a player. You want to be able to say that you enjoyed your college career. If you're a player who's thinking of transferring or about to transfer, feel free to message me with any questions you have. A few players in the past have messaged me asking about the whole transferring process and how I felt about it. And I told them what happened and how I feel now. So most of them, they transferred and now they're in a much better place too. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you underdogs later.
I'm breaking chains. Yeah. Tummy feeling bubbly off the rose. Friends turn to foes, haters tell them go away. Rappers making shiggy dance like a soul train.